So now we have all of our objects in here. They're brought in, they're cleansed, everything looks great. But how do we actually get this data directly into our assets environment? And this is a little bit tricky. Might take you a minute to figure out because it actually has nothing to do with Data Manager. You actually have to go through and you'll go over to your schemas. And then in your schemas, I'm going to use one called laptops for my import example. And what we'll do here is go to our schema settings. We'll go to the import tab. We'll create a brand new import and we'll click the data manager import option. This is the only way to run your import. It doesn't actually happen from data manager. So I'll call this Intune and SCCM import. And we will, oh, we have to have a safe search. I almost forgot about that. So we actually have to go back. And before we run an import, we have to go into our compute and we have to create a safe search. To do that, we go to advanced search and we'll remove whatever I have here, but you can filter down with conditions, whatever you want to see in particular. So if you do want to filter this list down even more to import like specifically a subsection of your compute hardware into a specific asset schema, you can do that. I'm going to import all of mine. So I'm just going to remove all the rules, and you could also remove all of them if you want to import everything. And I'll just save the search here. And I'll call this clean data. We'll make this public. We'll save it. Now we're good to go. Now we could go back to schemas, go back to my schema that I've created. We'll go over to my schema settings, back to import, back to create import and data manager. And we'll go ahead and name this Intune and SCCM import. Perfect. And now that safe search shows up right here, we could click on that. We're going to allow it to automatically map all of this. I won't get into mapping in here. I do have all the mapping relevant and related things inside of the course in that link right above if you wanted to check that out. But for this example, we'll keep things very, very simple. Okay, it's creating. It should show up here in just a second. We'll give it just a few seconds here to show up. And by the way, if you do have any questions, we'll be doing that in just a minute. Hit the QA tab at the top and type in whatever question you have. We'll try to answer everything that has been coming in. Looks like there's 3 questions so far, and I'm guessing there's going to be more. Okay, back to our import. Okay, we have our new import, Intune and SCCM import. Everything's ready to go. We could double check the mapping if we'd like. Oh, this is one thing I almost forgot to change, and that's the identifier. So this is very similar to the primary key that we just set. And if you actually import this data, it's only going to import one asset because it's using this as the source of truth for unique assets. So if you leave this as verified, it's only going to import one piece of hardware. So you actually have to switch this to, in my case, a unique value, which is serial number. So I'm going to toggle that on and toggle off identifier. I ran this import and I was super confused as to why one came in. And then I figured out it was the identifier. Okay, everything's good to go now. And all we have to do is click import data. Should just take 30 seconds with this particular file to run because it's relatively small. And now if I go back to my schema in my laptops, we could go to clean data, and it should be populating this any second with all of our up-to-date clean data directly into our asset schema. Now, the absolute best part about using Data Manager, which I haven't even touched on yet, is that you could automate this whole process. You could automate information coming in using bash scripts, right? Whatever local information you have, whether it's a connector, you automate that coming into Data Manager. You could automate the cleansing. You could automate the import into assets. And then every single day you log into work, you just have a wonderfully clean, up-to-date asset schema ready for you without doing anything, which is phenomenal. It's super cool that you could automate that whole process. Okay, let's refresh. We should have some data. Perfect. There we go. We have all of our devices coming in across all of our information that we've removed, put together and cleaned up into one nice clean data import. So that really is Data Manager. I know that was like almost like a speed run of how to get Data Manager set up. And really the purpose of this webinar was like, it's not that hard to get started. It used to be a lot harder, but it's fairly simple and straightforward these days. And real quick, I've implemented Jira for over 200 companies. By far, the #1 reason teams reach out to us is because they built what they thought was a great solution, only to realize that nobody actually ended up using it. And if that sounds familiar, that's exactly what we help you fix. We're currently taking on new projects 4 to 6 weeks out. And if you want help implementing Jira in a way that your team will actually use, hit the first link in the description below.